Good evening. This is the Nevada Unified School District. It is 6 o'clock. It is Tuesday, October 6th. October 6th, am I right? October 5th. I knew there was a problem. October 5th. And this is, we're moving into open session. And the very first item we're going to do is pledge allegiance to the flag. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Item number 6, announcements of reportable actions. Trustee Jacobson, could you provide the update from our closed session?
Sure. So for item 3B, with respect to every item of business to be discussed in closed session, public employees, discipline, dismissal, release, informational only. Item 3C, with respect to every item of business to be discussed in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957 and Section 54957.6, conference with labor negotiators, Barbara Frankovich, Interim Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, Employees Organization, Nevada Federation of Teachers, NFT, was informational only. Item 3D, with respect to every item of business to be discussed in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957 and Section 54957.6, conference with labor negotiators, Barbara Frankovich, Interim Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, Employee Organization, California State Employee Association, CSEA, was informational only. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're moving on to item 7, approval of the agenda. In this case, the board has to approve to take the order of business as published, and it's been made to the public. So I need a motion to adopt the order of business for this evening from a trustee.
Mr. President, I'll move tonight's agenda adopted.
Trustee Nell, and a second by Trustee Aguilar. With that, I'll need a vote in favor, and I need advisory votes from the student trustees. Thank you. I have 2 advisory votes. Trustee Mack is absent for this evening's meeting. He's traveling on business and will not be with us for the duration of the meeting. So the vote was 6 in favor, Trustee Mack absent, none opposed. Public comment on the consent agenda. We're going to pick up the consent agenda. So I have no cards to discuss any item on the consent agenda. So hearing, does any trustee want to pull a consent item? Hearing none, I need a motion. What? I don't know. Yes, hi. Mazzani, do I get it right? I pronounce your...
It's Maizani.
Maizani, pardon me, I will...
It's no worries.
Okay.
I had a couple questions about the search and seizure policy we're consenting to tonight.
Okay, do you want to, we can pull that item and then consider it right after. So let's pull item search and seizure, which is, do you know the number?
I do.
D.
Consent approval of DA. Okay, so we're going to pull item DA and we'll vote on everything else and then we'll have a conversation about the item. So I need a motion from a trustee for all the items except item DA. Do I have a move from Trustee Jacobs, second by Trustee Gasson, all in favor, and advisory by the 2 student votes, yes. So everything's in the consent agenda is approved, and now we will take up immediately item 15DA, which is the board policy for search and seizure. Would you want to raise your question? Or?
Yeah, I just had 2 concerns. Would there be some sort of enforcement of making sure that people feel comfortable with their search and seizure, as in gender-wise? Saying, if I'm a woman, I wouldn't want to be searched by a male resource officer.
So I don't have, Dr. Derby, do you have any?
I have the document in front of us. So yes, in alignment with any of our practices that all, and that would be a legal requirement, that students would feel comfortable and would be aware of their rights in the presence of any kind of search and seizure.
Okay. And then another question, because this is obviously a concern with all resource officers on campus, would there be some sort of policy to enforce that there's no racial prejudice or anything like that when considering who to search?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for asking.
Okay. So with that, we're going to take up approving item 15DA. Do I have a motion from Trustee?
I'll move.
Trustee Butler moves, Trustee Nell seconds. Is that correct? All in favor? 6 trustees in favor, 2 advisory yeses by students, and Trustee Mack is absent. So that clears the consent items for our evening's meeting. Thank you very much. The next is presentations, item number 10. And Dr. Derby, would you introduce Linwood for us?
So Melissa Diaz, who is the principal at Linwood, and the students from Linwood are here to present, and their mom is here. You can raise your hand so we can see you. And the twin sister is here, another 4th grader. She's there. We can wave at her too. So Melissa, we're delighted to have you here tonight with the kids, and thank you for doing a video for us, and we'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Good evening. It's so nice to be back in the boardroom. So thank you so much for having us. I have 2 wonderful students with me this evening. I have Naya, who is going to talk about why she loves Linwood, and then I have Alexia, who is going to talk about our presentation. So I'm going to let Naya have the mic.
Hi, my name is Naya Pasco. I go to Linwood Elementary School and I am in 4th grade. Hola, mi nombre es Naya Pasco y estoy en 4º grado en Linwood. What I love about Linwood is learning Spanish and how nice and polite the teachers are and how they all speak English and Spanish. The principal is so cooperative and nice as well.
So one little thing I wanted to share about Naya is that I'm not sure if you remember, but back when she was in 1st grade, she's now in 4th, we came and sang a song to the board. And so she actually reminded me of that this evening and said, this is not my first time presenting to the board.
She's not my first dog and pony show. No, that's good. That's good.
Hi, my name is Alexia, and I'm in 4th grade at Linwood. We are setting goals at our school so that we can do a great job of mastering our learning. Please watch our students as they share their goals with you.
Yeah, I think so.
Hi, my name is Griffin. I am a 4th grader at Linwood, and my goal is to get better at reading. I practice every night with my mom and dad.
Hola, mi nombre es Lucas. Estoy en 2º grado. Voy a la escuela a hacer que aprender mis matemáticas.
Hello, my name is Emily Aristita. I am in 2nd grade. I go to Linwood Elementary, and what I want to accomplish is reading better and reading every night. Hola, me llamo Asha y voy a Linwood y estoy en 3º grado y yo quiero hacer más difíciles cosas en imaginar y hacer en el estado. Elías y estoy en 2º grado en Linwood. Este año quiero realizar fluencia en matemáticas y escritura. Voy a hacerlo con el apoyo de mi maestra Miss Cook y usando Imagine Learning.
Hola, mi nombre es Sienna Fordley y estoy en 4º grado en Linwood Elementary. Una cosa que quiero lograr este año es aprender más división y más multiplicación por usando Imagine.
Hola, mi nombre es Declan y una cosa que quiero realizar este año es mejorar mi escritura. Hola, me llamo Natalia y yo voy a la escuela de Linwood. Está en 3º grado y yo quiero mejorar al leer. Voy a practicar todos los días y leer libros más difíciles.
Any questions from the board members? Maria Aguilar.
Oh, I just like to make a comment that thank you so much for all your efforts for this, not just the video, but for what the video shows. And I especially love the American children speaking Spanish. I think that's the goal right there. So thank you.
A question, Dr. Ruby?
Just a quick one, and my Spanish is very old, and I thought I heard chicken. Did I hear pollo? Or what? No? Okay, but I was like.
We don't have any chickens, Diana.
Yeah, I thought, wait.
We'd like to.
I thought that was pretty cool. He likes it, so I misunderstood, but it was so fun to see the kids, and as I'll share later, I hadn't been around little kids for so long because of COVID, and it's just, you got to be around kids. It's so much fun, and it's so great to see them smiling and having a good time now. So it makes me happy to see that here too.
I wanted to thank you guys. Oh,
Go ahead. No, Trustee Jacobson, go ahead and then.
Thank you so
Danny,
much
next.
for your presentation. Thank you guys for coming and speaking to us today. I just share that during the 7-Eleven committee, there was a speaker at some point that shared, it was a little boy saying, I was at a playground and I started speaking to another child in Spanish, and he was like, how do you know this? And it was so heartwarming, and I always think of that around your school. So thank you so much.
That was Kane Sawyer that you saw.
I really just wanted to say that I get so emotional knowing that you guys are teaching children Spanish, and as a person who speaks Spanish, I've never encountered another elementary school who teaches it like that, and I am so grateful for that you taught Spanish to the kids, or the teachers did, and it just made me feel so excited to know that other kids are very interested in speaking it as well. So thank you.
Danny, when you have a chance, I spent the weekend Saturday walking around the Linwood campus, and the modernization is amazing. All the buildings are fresh, the asphalt's new, the coat hooks are there, the classrooms are modernized, the lights all work, and their multi-purpose room is being expanded. It's not just that this district values the language, it values kids and the facilities that they learn in. And that is double down on your comments. That's absolutely right. It's an amazing thing that this district does. Yeah. Questions from other trustees? If not, Principal Diaz, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And as we put in the video, so grateful to the board, NUSD, and the Novato community, because the modernization is absolutely phenomenal, and we are so grateful, and I will forever be grateful for that. And I know our students appreciate it, and our staff and our families as well. So thank you so much.
And yeah, and all of a sudden it's a school campus, not just a kitchen campus as well. All that's off. You get to focus on the kids, and you have the new pathway through from Leafwood that goes through, so you have one-way traffic, so it's safer.
Yeah, we're working on it. So with the construction in the kitchen, there's a little bit. But we're navigating. So.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I just wanted to say one thing.
Yeah.
Like when I went to Lima Verde and I didn't know English, this program was not around, so I missed out. But thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The next item is on presentations is 10B from the County Office of Education. Dr. Derby, do you want her to introduce Kate and her?
Well, it's Kate. We have Tarina.
So
Lois is coming up first, but we have a twofer tonight, so it's pretty good.
We make you sit through student presentations. I
love how we're positioned.
Kids first. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think we're good, I think.
Okay. Hello, everyone. The agenda's a little confusing, but I am here to talk about the letter, to have the board review and respond to the letter that we received back in September from the county office with the conditional approval of our adopted budget. So you got that letter. The county came and presented it. It is now part of your packet tonight, so you can have it to review. And in that letter, on page 2 at the very top, are outlined 3 things that we need to do to change the approval, to help perhaps change the approval from conditional to accepted. And those things are, 1, verify the district's enrollment for the 21-22 school year and corresponding impact on the projected average daily attendance. 2, if a decline in enrollment has occurred, quantify the impact of the corresponding loss of revenue for the 22-23 and the 23-24 budget projections. And 3, initiate a budget advisory committee to advise the board on a deficit reduction and recovery plan. So I'll start with the last one first, because that's the easiest. We had our first meeting last week of the budget advisory committee, and we will have 3 more. And the first meeting was a review of basically state school finance concepts, and then we got into some of the particulars about Novato and where our struggles are. So the next few meetings will be a deeper discussion of possible areas where we can adjust the budget, whether it's through revenue enhancement or budget reductions to get to where we need to be. So that's number 3. Number 2 and number 1 are reflected. Let me talk about those. I put it up on the board, but it's not going to be big enough to see. You have 2, the board members have 2 handouts. The yellow one is the one that has the adjustments, and I included the blue one, which is the original adopted budget, so you can look and see where the numbers, how much the numbers have changed by, but I will go over it. And then the change numbers are the ones on the yellow that are a different color. They're the orangish color on each of the 3 sheets. So we have looked at our enrollment, and according to our system, it's showing about a decline compared to the assumptions made in the adopted budget. True enrollment for 21-22 is about 146 students less than what we had projected originally. And we are looking at attendance, and I have to say there's still some issues with pulling attendance from our system, but the schools we can see, it seems like we're sticking with the 96.5%. That seems like a good assumption for attendance rate. So those are the 2 numbers we made the assumptions with in doing this multi-year projection. And I'll go through the changes. If you're on the yellow form, the very top line is the LCFF sources. And that, of course, is the revenue we gain directly from our ADA, our average daily attendance. So that number in 22-23 is down by 1.44 million, and in the 3rd year out, it goes down by 1.48 million, based on the 96.5%. The other change of significance that you'll see on this multi-year is something that the county detected in our original budget, and that was an error in the benefits, the number used for benefits in the out year. So that too has been adjusted, and unfortunately it's an increase in expenditures of about $650,000 in both of those years. So that translates to about $2 million worsening of the budget, if that's where you put it, less revenue, greater expenditures, and 2.1 million in the 3rd year out. Now the plus side, although it's one-time money, the beginning fund balance, which is the line second from the bottom, now that the books are closed, the beginning fund balance has increased from what it was when we adopted the budget, and we have a gain of $3.3 million there. So that helps ease short-term, very short-term, ease the increase in expenditures and lessening of revenue. But you can see the differences in the ending fund balance across the board, that it changes this year with no changes in ADA. It's 15, the ending fund balance is 15 million, and then it goes across over the 2 years and gets down to $8 million. So it's 50% gone after 2 years with these assumptions. So are there any questions at this point or comments from the county on anything about this?
So I'll take questions from trustees first, and then if the county would like to speak, we can, questions from trustees? Hearing none. So I have one comment that I sit on the Budget Advisory Committee, as does Julie Jacobs, the other trustee here on the board, and Alan Harris, who is a former trustee, is here in the audience listening to this. And I know that committee, and you're leading it. Thank you very much. The 4 meetings are going to be very serious. We clearly know we have a long way to go. This is, I think former trustee Harris said this is almost a receivership, or on the edge of receivership. We have to get this right, and we have to take this very seriously. And I think that hard work is being picked up by that committee. So I look forward to the next 3 sessions. So,
Thank you, as do I.
So if I think that's a reflection of the tenor in the room. And I believe Caitlin joined us for that meeting. So thank her for that. Are there any, so hearing nothing from trustees, I have no public comments. Trina, do you have any comments that you would like to make for this? Miss Marr, we've known each other for so long.
Go right ahead, and yours is right there.
Okay. Well, it's sort of like getting all dressed up and having no place to go. We actually have a little bit of a little mini presentation for the board.
Oh, great.
Some of this is going to be a little redundant. First of all, thank you, President Millerick, members of the board, Dr. Derby. It's always a pleasure to come before you. I wish it was under better circumstances, but the good news is we feel very positively and strongly about our partnership with the district and with the board. For those of you who do not know me, I am Tarina Morris. I'm the Senior Deputy Superintendent for the Marin County Office of Education, and my colleague Kate Lane, who you just heard, is going to be a regular at your Budget Advisory Committees. Kate Lane is the Assistant Superintendent at the County Office in charge of Business Services. Our team, and this is a little bit redundant for the board, but for members of the audience and public that may not know, our office is responsible for reviewing and approving the district's budget 3 times a year. And one time it is actually the initial approval, and it's the one time where we have the option of giving a conditional approval. And the reason the district received a conditional approval from us this year is largely because there were so many uncertainties around your enrollment. You had a adopted budget that came before the board in June that clearly showed you were all going to be fiscally solvent, that didn't look to be a risk. When we started digging in, and we all knew there was some uncertainty around your enrollment in the fall, and we were anxiously awaiting to see what kind of confirmation you all could give us about the number of students that were going to show up in the fall actually show up. And this was not unique to Novato. I do want to clarify that. All districts throughout the county, and I would even say the state and the nation, had a very uncertain opening in the fall because so many students moved or found other ways to meet their children's education. When you're a district that's dependent on those students for your enrollment and your revenue, a huge portion of your budget is dependent on that. And we knew you were projected deficit spending. We really could not definitively approve your budget until we knew more about your enrollment. So I'm very pleased tonight to hear Lois present, and I know you're still dialing down on those enrollment numbers. When we issued the conditional approval, we gave, it's actually not our date. The state actually, when they say in statute, we have the allowance of issuing a conditional approval. And when we do, we have to determine by October 8th whether we're going to approve it or disapprove it. It's one or the other. And so tonight, one of the conditions, and it was outlined, not outlawed. Let's see.
Yep.
So really can't see it, but let me do this here. Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to shrink that. Well, I'll just read to you what it says. The first one is, Lois and thank you very much. We really want to give huge kudos to your new Chief Business Official, who has been exceedingly responsive to our office and our inquiries, and we're very much appreciating the positive relationship we have and the collaboration we already have in identifying where is the district at risk, because our job is to assist you as you right-size your budget, and that's the primary purpose of our involvement. And so we basically said, look, we can't approve your budget until you verify what your enrollment is. We think you're closer. We still think there's a little more work to do, but we feel very strongly, especially after what we just heard, we're going to be able to approve your budget. So that's the good news. There is an ongoing challenge for your budget that pre-existed prior to even the enrollment questions, and that was your projected deficit spending. So that's why the third condition was there. And again, very pleased that you have implemented the Budget Advisory Committee. And thank you to Alan Harris, who has a lot of experience with not only the district, but with district finances in particular. Mm-hmm. And Kate, as you mentioned, will be a part of that. So there's a second chapter to this.
Yes, so second chapter was that after we had determined that indeed the enrollment figures were fluctuating pretty much on a daily basis, and which I must say is to be expected when you've just started school, and this has happened, as Ms. Morris said, across the state, across the nation. We know that the district made an incredible effort over the summer to call all students and their families to determine are they returning. But nonetheless, you start school and there will be a vast swathe of students that you have not heard from, and you're waiting to see if they're going to show up. Well, then there's all this work to clean up the computer system, right? So is the child coming to the district, or are they not? Well, quite frankly, opening up school, I think that you've been focused on serving your students, not on the computer system. So, and that's as it should be. We need to get the children into school and start it up well this year. Things are starting to settle down, and we're starting to see those numbers start to flush out. And it was indeed my thought that you were either experiencing a much lower attendance ratio, or your enrollment was inflated, that there are students that truly are not coming. So we issued an addendum to our conditional approval letter to point out these areas, the continuing fluctuation in the enrollment and the difficulty in getting a handle on that, as well as we had ascertained and were able to confirm with your CBO that indeed there was an inadvertent error to the benefit projections in the out years. So, but we also wanted to acknowledge that your beginning fund balance for the current year, in closing the books for last year, increases by $3.3 million, which is a significant sum of money. So at the time we wrote that letter, which was September 24th, we made an assumption that you had a potential loss of $2.7 million next year, because your enrollment for this year and the ADA, the average daily attendance that generated on that enrollment, will actually impact your budget projections for next year. The state of California allows all school districts the benefit of the better of current or prior year average daily attendance. So since we're in decline, we know that we're always going to be funded on the prior years. So this year impacts our multi-year projection. So we had estimated at the time of that writing that you would be at risk of losing $2.7 million in revenue in 22-23 and an additional $3.4 million in 23-24. We've just heard from your business official this evening that those numbers are looking much closer to $1.5 million. So that is actually quite an improvement in the course of the last 10 days. So with that, getting those data points is critical to our being able to take our next steps.
And I think the next steps ought to be clear. You have the Budget Advisory Committee. You have a series of meetings set up. We are going to be approving your budget based on the data and the information that we just received tonight, which was obviously before the October 8th meeting. On a monthly basis, and County Superintendent Mary Jane Burke met with the board and shared with you all, you're going to get to see us on a monthly basis. So on a monthly basis, we're going to get to come here and we're not always going to have a presentation, but we will be here to either answer questions or ask questions. We'll continue to work closely with your chief business official, with your superintendent, and I have every faith that the district will be able to right-size its budget, and we stand here to support.
Good. So my understanding, our goal was by your middle of October meeting, we were to have these numbers to you for this conversation. And what I just heard from you is we've completed that process, and you're prepared to take the next step so we can continue to work on the longer term issue, which is right-sizing our budget.
That's correct. That's correct.
Let me see if trustees, any other questions from board members? Dr. Diane Gaston.
I got elevated to doctor. I just have a quick question, and you'll probably hear me ask this again. Has there been any word from the state about a reprieve for school site? I mean, so many of us are ADA funded, and with COVID, I've had to have the first time my kids are in 7th and 9th grade, had to go get COVID tested because of, which I know was food poisoning, but we had to go get testing, and so that took them out of school. Is there any conversation, because I think it impacts in so many levels that if you depend on the testing, it could be your kid is out of school for 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard any?
No.
There is one,
but it hasn't.
one change in AB 167, which allows you to provide short-term independent study for students who are being quarantined or COVID testing. So related to COVID, you can do short-term. That would be for individual students.
Thank you. At least there's some. I mean,
it's one solution, I guess.
Right.
It's
Okay. Because I feel like we're being harmed by something that's not really in our. You have a sniffle, and then you get into. You don't want to send your kid to school, but at the same time, if people that know that their kid needs to be at school.
And quite frankly, public health is saying if they have a sniffle, don't send them to school.
Correct, right.
So that is, and it has been a heavily discussed and debated area. The state, from what I can assess, they have taken a hard line on this because they feel so strongly that distance learning was so negatively impactful on children last year. And so they're trying to do everything they can to make sure students are in school. This is a whole other conversation around should they be funding students that are enrolled versus attending.
Right.
That's a whole other debate.
That's another decade of conversation.
Yes, or a couple decades, maybe.
A couple of decades. Any other questions from Trustee?
I'm a doctor too.
Yeah, I'm
Everybody's
giving them out today.
Just a comment that, this district, we operate unless we have a good budget, and this needs to be our number one priority as a board, as a district, as a community. You need to understand that this is our top priority. There's a lot of other things happening and going on, but we are not a district until we have a fiscal budget that is positive, and the out years are in the same situation. So I know this board takes this very seriously. I know we don't have very many comments, but we are pretty versed in the budget. I feel like we're pretty good as a board in understanding what is happening. So I feel good about that. And our budget advisory is well represented with our community and staff. So I feel good there. And that some solutions will come forward to the board that will get us in the right situation. They might be solutions that we all don't agree on, but they're going to be solutions that have been vetted by this committee. And that's good to know that it's not going to be done in a silo. and they will be brought forward with very good reasoning behind those, what's being forward. And there'll be stuff that will, unfortunately, probably will impact the classroom. We really try to stay away from that. I know this board does not like to make cuts that impact any student program or anything like that. Unfortunately, that may happen, and it's, you don't want it to, but it could, so.
Thank you very much.
Leave it on that.
Other comments? Trustee Jacobson.
I'm not a doctor, Jill?
Yeah, I know, I'm in trouble now. I know it's going to go all night.
I just wanted to share a couple things from the Budget Advisory Committee meeting. There were a lot of members from various parts of our community and stakeholders. There was some comments about how this has been a long problem in our district, but there is still optimism with the group and energy, which was great. There was a lot of reality there. It wasn't just hopeful and wishful thinking. And there was also a lot of focus on long-term solutions. And I think what Lois was so amazing in the presentation she did and the explanations of all of the things that are involved of how we got here and where we're going. And she's also going to bring a myriad of options for us to talk about and explore that are kind of some outside the box thinking and then some regular things. So it was a very impressive group and meeting.
Cool. Other comments? If not, thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you.
Never mind. Thank you very much. It's an honor. We're looking forward to spending lots of time together.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, we're moving on to announcements of board and superintendent, item 11. And so we'll start with our student trustees to get a status report from them.
Hello, my name is Maizani Reese. I am representing San Marin tonight. And so far, the only updates I really have are kind of about our student things going on. Like, we've begun selling our homecoming tickets at $20 each. We do expect to sell to at least 500 students, profiting about $10,000 by the end of next week on Monday. That's our goal. And then we have also announced our student body elected officials involving ASB president, secretary, treasurer, and then also the class presidents and then class vice presidents. And lastly, our Gay Straight Alliance Club on campus is working together to create a survey so they can kind of get an analysis of the genders of people on campus. And the reason why is because we wanted to gender pins, so instead of having to introduce yourself like, hi, I'm Maizani, I go by she, her, to make it a little more comfortable for people who are just now coming out or just now finding themselves, we were hoping to get pins for the school-wide for everyone to wear so you can just see it on them and know how to address them.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Danny, you want to help us learn about Nevada High?
Yeah, of course. So we also just started selling our homecoming tickets. This week we'll be doing $20, and then the next 2 weeks will be $25. Juniors are doing PSAT testing next Wednesday, and there's also going to be Galileo testing next Wednesday. Football is doing a mod pizza fundraiser, I believe. And then on the 14th, which is a Thursday, I also believe, we're having a tie-dye day where students will be able to create their own tie-dye clothes. This is inspired for our Spirit Week that's coming up too. And then we are having senior portraits makeup days on the 15th, which is a Friday. And then we're having a walk and talk with the principal and PTSA members on the 16th for 9th and 10th grade families. And then this will take place at 9 a.m. at the truck. And they will talk about Nevada High School. And then I think that should be it.
Cool. Thank you. Magani, hi. You have some additional comments you want to offer?
I completely forgot to say that next week we're having our homecoming parade on Thursday the 13th, so we're also going to have dine and donates. So if you guys want to eat at Finnegan's or Grazie or anything like that, just say you're here for San Marin and they'll give us some money. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you remembered. This was good. Trustee, now, would you like to be a doctor this evening? I'm handing him out. Thank you, sir. Trustee Aguilar?
Actually, I was going to, I wanted just to congratulate the Modeling the Way teacher. And I had more information here, but now I can't find it. Yes. And so I'm sorry, I lost my information. So yeah, Liz Nelson from our district in Sinaloa. So I just wanted to congratulate her. So thank you so much.
Trustee Jacobs?
Yeah. So I got to go to the Modeling the Way award presentation. It was the sweetest thing. They were surprises, and both recipients were so emotionally overwhelmed. It was very nice. And there were students making comments and other faculty members. It was Liz Nelson and Karen Dugdale, and that was amazing. I also attended the sliming at Lou Sutton of their principal for their PTA getting 100% participation. That was very fun. I was at the Budget Advisory Committee, and I did a site visit at Novato High School. Thank you.
Cool. Trustee Butler?
I as well did the Model the Way Awards, and that was one of the best things. I enjoyed doing that all the time. And then Farmers Market, I volunteered at the Farmers Market this last Tuesday, and I have the next couple Tuesdays that I'm going to be volunteering.
Trustee Guest, and Trustee Mack is, like I said, out of the state, so he's traveling.
So thank you for the reminder and doing the flea markets and everything. So as I kind of touched on during the presentation from Linwood, I had the opportunity to be at Rancho for their Lapathon, and it was the best thing ever. My mood completely changed, having those kids laughing, having a great time, going the wrong way on the loop, redirecting them was just what I needed. It was just a perfect time. I also had an opportunity to visit with Michelle Cortez at Novato High School and get familiar with their wellness campus. It's amazing all that she has done there, the energy that she puts into all the work and all the staff that was there. I met so many great people and really appreciated how they embraced and support all of our students at that campus in different ways. I would like to make note that they are looking for flatbed trucks, which I've been trying really hard to get for their homecoming parade. So hopefully they can find a couple more to do for that. And then I participated in the webinar that was also done through the district on suicide prevention. I think that was a really important presentation, and I appreciated us putting that together. And then Friday was the North Marin Council PTA meeting, and Assistant Superintendent Larson and Karen Fremantle were there to provide information on proficiency-based education. I really appreciated them bringing a lot of background information and talking about all the details. As I have a 7th and 9th grader, and it's a hard concept when you're used to traditional grading. So it was a great chance for them to speak to a lot of PTA presidents and other individuals. And finally, I spent the weekend at a Master's in Governance course on finance. It's run through the California School Board Association in a collaboration with School Services of California. It was great to see people throughout the state of California, what they're going through their own budget and financial issues. And I appreciated the opportunity to take the course and have a human resource and collective bargaining one on the 15th, the weekend of the 15th.
Cool. I had the opportunity to do the farmer's market, and the fun part about farmer's market is there's a spin wheel. There's parents come by, but there's these little people that are about this tall that get attracted to the spin wheel and all the colors and the colored pencils, and you get a chance to actually talk to students who talk about how much they like their principals and their schools, and you end up with in a very casual setting, a dialogue while Principal Sims can engage with the parent and discover more about if they have any issues or how the schools are servicing them. And I think Debbie set up, and I was there for tear down from the same day. So I got to work with the principal at Olive School, and I got to work with the principal of Marin, who were also meeting the public. It seems to me like a really good continuing activity for us to be able to have a relationship that normally we're sitting here at kind of a distance, and it's not nearly as much fun as talking to kids, to tell you the truth. So that's my report. Dr. Derby?
I just have a couple of things. I hope you've all been reading the principal newsletters about the fabulous Hispanic heritage activities they've been doing this last month at each of our schools. And Kermesse is coming up on October 23rd at Linwood, so we have some more. And I know Sinaloa is doing Dia de los Muertos, and so that should be coming up too. So lots of exciting things going on. Homecoming, you know you're invited to the truck with me, so I hope you're going to be there. Now, they're going to be picking us up at 6:30, so be ready at Novato High. We'll be here, picked up by the Novato High people, so that'll be really fun. I also want to say that there are, even though our Hispanic Heritage Month is continuing through October, we have some new ones to add, and I'll tell you about a couple right now. National Bullying Prevention Month, for me, one of the most important, because we really need to address the issues with the isolation from COVID. It's been really rough coming back to the system at all levels, not just the older kids, but the younger ones, and we really need to learn how to be civil with each other and care deeply about each other. Also, National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and that's great. And the traditional Red Ribbon Week. So we'll be seeing some drug and alcohol activities as well, which is really good. I would like to ask us to close the meeting today in honor of Dee Dee Shannon, who passed away this year. It's tragic. She fought a valiant battle with cancer, and she fought to the very end. But she succumbed to the disease this last week. And for those of you that knew her, we all loved her.
Yeah,
and
amazing.
She did amazing work for us. So I would just ask that we close in her honor tonight.
With no objection, well, so, okay. I'm heartbroken. She has been such a contributor to this whole community through the school system. She and I didn't always agree, but we always fought for the value, the services to the kids in the community. So that's a heartbreak. We're now moving on to non-agenda public comments. I have no cards for nobody's, okay, so no general comments. We're moving, that'll take us past that into a public hearing. And this is a public hearing for naming Performance Arts Center lobby after Miss Linda Kinsley, Miss K. And so we will take, I have two comments, cards for people to make public comment. And so Brisnet Walks, pardon me, I got to open the public hearing. Open the public hearing. And the first, so we, okay.
We're going to come together.
Oh, okay, so are you Bridget? Oh.
This is me, I'm Janice.
I know, Janet. You and I spent the last week sitting together. Okay. So Bridget, or is that you?
That'd be me, yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so thank you. I just want to keep my paperwork in order.
Okay, hi, I'm Janice Blair, not a doctor, but I am a longtime Novato resident, NUSD parent volunteer, and retired NUSD employee. I'm speaking to you tonight to encourage you to approve the naming of the lobby of the San Marin Emily Gates Performing Arts Center in honor of former San Marin drama teacher Linda Kinsley. I had the privilege of working as a drama mama with Miss K, as she is affectionately known by her students and colleagues, for 12 years. I started in 2004 when my daughter Jenna, I get way emotional about you, Miss K, when Jenna joined Miss K's new theater tech class, a class she created to make sure her students received a complete introduction to all aspects of the theater experience, from performing to working lights and soundboards. Ms. K came to San Marin Drama after retiring from a long career in the corporate world. She brought with her her enthusiasm and determination to expand the experience of her students by introducing them to the variety and depth of theater performance. She has guided her students as they experienced Jane Austen's England, hid in Anne Frank's attic, rode the Orient Express, and mourned in Laramie, Wyoming. To name just a few of her 56 productions. In order to expand the program to include a wider range of students like football players, she created classes during the day, after school, and in the evenings. She involved the community in the program by casting community members in productions, as well as by making 3 movies with her advanced students, the Marin County DA's office, and the Prandy Center, about topics of critical importance to our young adult community. Her passion for inclusion had her double casting each production to provide opportunities for more students to actually experience being on stage. A lot more work for the teacher, a lot more opportunities for the students. This recognition would celebrate Ms. Kay's unwavering belief in her students and her passion for sharing her love of theater and performance. It would also celebrate the tireless efforts, encouragement, and yes, prodding the Performing Arts Department at San Marin provided the district in order to ensure that San Marin actually received a new, updated facility to house our program. Naming the lobby of the San Marin Emily Gates Performing Arts Center in honor of Ms. Kay is an honor I believe she has earned and deserves. I appreciate your consideration.
So I have 2 speaker cards. Is there another?
Well, I just
Yep.
wanted, there's not
So
really
Janice went first and Bridget, you're second.
Yes. So there's really not much to add to what Janice said. We all know the contribution that Ms. Kay made to the community and to the many kids. One of them was mine too. There was science kids, sports kids. She created a community for all of them. And we would like to have a plaque displayed in the lobby in her honor that shows all the plays that she has put on over the years. And I think it's a nice memory for her and for the kids as well. They're all in these plays, and they will hopefully come back one day with their own kids. And, you know, it creates a sense of community and just a nice feel at San Marin High School. It's a home for a lot of kids there. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Comments, any other comments? If not, I will close the public hearing.
Just a couple of words, if I may.
For this, to this item?
Yes.
Yeah, can we, when you're done, can you send me a card so I have your name and number? Sure, please.
Okay. Well, I just jotted down a couple of things. Good evening. My name's Pauline Hanson. I'm the parent of a former student of San Marin High School who was fortunate enough to do drama with Ms. Kay. And as you know, she was instrumental in getting the Pacific Performing Arts Center built. From the early planning with architects to groundbreaking, Linda was there with her sleeves rolled up the whole way. And as much as this was a dream of hers, her real passion lay in the teaching and the students. She chaperoned students to countless competitions from California to the world-famous Fringe Center and Festival in Scotland. Not only is she a remarkable teacher, she became a friend and mentor to her students long after they graduated. To this day, she takes groups of alumni out to lunch whenever they come home. As a parent, I'm honored and grateful to have had Linda take these kids under her wing and pave the way for future thespians. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. Okay, you get one more?
I will bring you a card as well. So
Oh, that's okay. That's good. Yeah, I want to get...
Hi, everybody. I'm Haley McFadden. I teach theater at San Marin, and I just want to say a couple things really quick in honor of Miss Kay here. Firstly, I'd like to say that if it were not for this woman, I would not be here myself. She paved the way to help me find my niche at San Marin when I didn't fit in. I was new, and I found a home in her department and found my passion in life. It makes me emotional too, Janice. You're not alone. And we kept in touch over the years. We kept in great contact, and I'm so thankful for that. And now I feel like I'm living my true calling, honestly, here at San Marin, and with this new space and the students and the program that I'm trying to support and grow. So thank you very much, and I think that this is I'm honored to speak on her behalf for that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments? If not, we'll close there. I have a couple of comments, but I'll make them as we take the next one.
Yeah.
So we're going to close the public hearing. So the next item that we are considering is the discussion action, which is actually approving the naming Performing Arts Center in honor of Linda Kinsbury, the lobby. And do we have any comments from trustees? I have a couple of comments, and then I'll ask for a motion to approve this item.
I would like to do something too.
Yes.
When you could do it. I'll wait.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Now,
Linda, be careful. This is,
okay, watch out, Linda. This is it. So I just want everyone to know that Linda dedicated 20 years of her professional career to the arts at San Marin. Throughout her career, she was a courageous leader for human rights, respectful of all groups and individuals, inclusive of all groups, and utilized the power of performing arts to empower students to speak their truth, engage in change, and create allies in all aspects of the life within the school setting and beyond. Her passion for the arts is exceptional and extraordinary. Linda exemplifies the type of educator who is compassionate beyond measure, student-centered beyond reproach, a trusted colleague, and a tireless leader in expanding performing arts talents beyond what could even have been imagined. Linda is one of those teachers who will have an impact on the students and adults whose lives she touched their entire lives. She leads with courage to empower others to engage in dialogue and build bonds of understanding, acceptance, and respect. It is with unconditional love and appreciation that I recommend that the lobby be named for Miss K.
Wow. Okay, now I don't know how I'm going to deal with that. That's okay. So this is more of a story. 20 years ago, I met Miss Kane, and the school was considering airing the Laramie Project, the issues of how people are treated across this country, in Wyoming and other places, was in question. And there was churches who were opposing to this activity, and there was some concern that this was going to be a safe activity. And Ms. Kane insisted that students needed a voice. They needed to stand up and have the chance to stand on their grounds. And I'm drawing a blank on the first thing, but Ruth Ann Bexton's daughter was one of those students who I've heard from since, and was moved by the opportunity for her to have her voice heard in that process. She successfully staged Laramie Project, and in order to make it safe, because there were people in this country who thought that shouldn't happen, Bodell staged it that same month, but the chief of police was in the cast. I was in the cast as a board member. Richard Gearhart, the principal at Sinaloa, was in the cast, and the cast was made up of many adults who were standing for the kids so the kids could participate in the roles that were appropriate for them. And if there was going to be any challenge to Novato having a conversation, the adult population was standing up for the kids to allow those children to have a chance to think about and wonder about and look forward on how the world should be viewed. And Linda Kane led that. It was her insistence that we have that standard of care for our children, and I've heard from students that were in that cast subsequently how important it was for them and how they think and learn and grow up. I am thrilled to be sitting up here decades later, being able to say thank you for what you did then and what you've done in between then and now. And I'm going to not make the motion. I'm going to ask one of our other trustees to be able to make the motion, so they have the similar honor. But with that, having heard all the public comment, I'll take a motion from the floor. Dr. Diane, do you want to make the motion?
So I would be very proud to make a motion to name the lobby of the Emily Gates Performing Arts Center after Miss K, for the term to be in alignment with the current Emily Gates Performing Arts Center name.
Then I need a second. Trustee Butler, second. And do I have any comments from trustees, student trustees? Good. Okay, with that, we'll vote. Trustee Aguilar, do you have a comment, or are you going to vote?
I can make a comment after.
Okay, so all in favor with advisory vote, but students advisory, 2 votes yes, and 6 in favor, and Trustee Mack is absent. Ms. Kane, thank you very much. And I think Trustee Aguilar has a comment.
Yeah.
And then we're going to let you cap this off, since you're a performing arts person, we figured. So
I just wanted to thank Emily Gates.
Okay.
For, she's still, like when I called her a few months ago, and she's out there helping, and she provided the music for our celebration to celebrate our teachers at the Golden Bell. And so I just wanted to say thank you to her too.
Okay, good.
So, and congratulations.
Please come up and.
Taking my breath away.
It's hard to do. You're pretty good at this.
Well, yeah, it's new with a mask, but I had a dream in high school that I had a very inspirational drama teacher. And I said, this is what I want to do. I want to be a drama teacher. And I went to college at the University of Oregon, got my teaching credential to teach drama. Then I went to work for the phone company, just as kind of a joke. But it turned into a 30-year joke. And finally left and came and started working at Marin as a volunteer. And they discovered that I had this teaching credential from the University of Oregon. And the dream came true. I got to teach for 20 years and do exactly what I wanted to do. It was so wonderful. And I loved it. Every minute of it was just a dream. And about 5 or 6 years ago, when we started the theater innovation idea, they were going to put a little Band-Aid on the theater. But Emily and I came to all these meetings and said, no Band-Aid, please give us a new theater. And finally they agreed. And I'll never forget, I was in a meeting, I was out in Myrtle Beach on spring break, and they said, Linda, you got to be in this meeting. And I said, okay, all right, I'll conference in. They said, would you mind if we took down the Student Center and built you a new theater? And Emily and I were like jumping up and down. It was really, really wonderful. And it's so exciting to see this theater go up. And Haley, our new wonderful drama teacher, my former student, so proud of her, took me on a tour in, I think it was August. And I just sat there and I said, this is like everything I dreamed of. Because I'd gone out to see all these other schools, and, we kind of picked a couple of schools that we thought would work for Marin. It was so much better than I ever could imagine. It was just amazing. And I couldn't have done it without all my drama boosters coming to these meetings and supporting us so that we have this new theater. And I just want to thank Jan and everybody for this great honor. I really wasn't expecting it. I really wasn't. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. My whole family's here. My brother happens to be here. He's filming right now from Oregon. And that's my grandson back there. That's Leo.
Good.
And that's my new grandson, Charlie. And they will be going to Pleasant Valley School someday. And I think we got a little drama in our background there. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and for all the things you said. And I love your kids. I keep seeing them. They come home. We go out to lunch. Yeah. We're friends. I did sign up to sub for Haley. She might need me a lot in the coming days. So I'm thrilled to still be part of the process when I'm not babysitting. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to follow that up with an approved amendment for a local control funding formula, which is just makes my heart no.
Talk about a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we get to get right into the nuts and bolts of the LCAP.
Yeah, Jen, thank you very much for coming forward.
just a little bit. All right. So thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. And we're going to be looking at, actually, I've got a few items, so I'm going to be up here for a few minutes. The first one is actually a review of our final edited LCAP. And so in front of you, and I don't have a slideshow for this one, you guys have a new copy of the LCAP, and in the board cover, each year when we approve the board, or the board approves our draft of the LCAP, we submit that to the County Office of Education. And similar to our budget, they provide us feedback and input about any changes or updates they'd like to see or suggest to ensure that we are fully compliant and everything aligns with our budget. This year, This year, there were 4 areas where they had asked and requested for updates to be made, 3 of which were fairly small edits. The first was to add our SELPA meetings with the County Office of Education to the list of stakeholder meetings. In our original LCAP, we had just listed the ones that were hosted only by NUSD, but Marin County Office of Education asked that we include our county-wide stakeholder meetings as well. So that was added to page 8 and 10. The second was to ensure that each of the 8 priority areas were very clearly demarcated in the plan. And so while they were all there, to go back and really highlight them and make sure all 8 priorities were easily identifiable. And then the larger or the more significant change that we found was in goal number 2, action 7, which originally was one single goal or action item where we identified $1,000 to be given equally to each elementary school site for them to determine the best use of funds to meet their unduplicated students. Rather than have that as one lump sum, the county office asked that we split that out into a single goal area, or action item for each individual school so that we have an easier time following the metrics and identifying how they're using those funds. So the biggest change you'll see in our LCAP is the change from 1 goal for $200,000 to 8 goals of $25,000 each, so that you can easily see what those funds are being used for at each individual school site. And the last one was simply to reflect the changes in the 3rd recommendation in the final review of our LCAP. So with that, I'm here for any questions or clarification you might need before I ask for approval of our final LCAP.
Members, any questions? Then we'll need approval of any comments from public. I have a public comment. Whoa! That keeps throwing it. Mariah, how are you? I recognize this sweater, the mask I couldn't.
I know. Oh, hi. Sorry, it's been a long day. I'm just getting my not teacher hat on. But at the same time, I'm here as a teacher. So my name's Mariah Fisher. I teach drama at San Jose Middle School. I'm very happy about what just happened with Miss K. I too was influenced by an amazing drama teacher in my life. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here with a question regarding the LCAP. In the LCAP, it talks about how all students have access to things like electives. And I stand here after I figured out, I brought this to your attention 7 years ago, that at the middle school level, with a 6-period day, our EL students and our resource students do not have access to my program as a drama teacher. And I also stood here as an art teacher asking for that same access for our students. It really closes them off from our amazing programs, both Miss K's program at San Marin and the MSA program, all of them. If they're not exposed to the arts at the middle school level, they're not able to engage on that pathway. And I think the language around the full access to these programs is misleading because we don't have it. We're not offering it. And so I ask that you please revisit that language and make it reflect the 7-year struggle I've been working on to try to get these kids access that I will continue to stand here and advocate for. Thank you.
Jen, do you want to
Yeah.
respond?
Thank you so much. And I actually believe this is relevant for our next item too, which are local indicators, where we really call out our broad base of story. When you look at our OCR and our requirements, the broad base of study is our core subjects and the access to SPED and EL. But Mariah brings up a very important fact and something that we have all looked at and had concerns about for many years, which is in a 6-period day, our students who are engaged in special education services or EL services and are required to have those